Welcome to the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. On today's episode, I want to talk to you about money that you might actually have that you don't know about. And no, I'm not talking about the change under your car seat. I'm talking about unclaimed property. In the U.S., there's approximately $43 billion of unclaimed monies. So where does this money come from? Sources include unclaimed federal and state tax returns, unclaimed back wages, uncashed checks, and forgotten utility deposits. So how do you find out if you have some unclaimed property? Well, you do have to do a little bit of detective work. There's really no central repository, although there are some great resources. My favorite is unclaimed.org. And you have to go by each state that you live in. There are a few places where you could go that they claim you could search multiple states, but in my experience, you go state by state. Most of us have not lived in that many states, but each state seems to have their own website, and unclaimed.org will direct you to each state's depository where they list unclaimed property. If you've only lived in one state, you could go to just that state website. For example, I have lived in Connecticut most of my life, and their site is ctbiglist.com. I know Florida's site is fltreasurehunt.org. So you could do a search by state, or you can go to unclaimed.org and they could direct you to each state's individual website. It's a good thing to check to see if you have unclaimed property. It will probably not by itself make you wealthy, but you might be able to uncover some money that is owed to you because it is unclaimed and being held by either the state you live in or a state you used to live in. So I was just kind of messing around with this. I had gotten exposed to this years ago, and every so often it pops back up. And it did for me recently. I did a search on myself, and I have no unclaimed property. But I was just messing around real quickly in preparation for this, and I looked up 4 others other than me, and 2 of the 4 seem to have unclaimed property. It does say in those instances it's less than $100, but if you could file a little paperwork and get $100, probably not such a bad use of your time. It could be more, maybe much more, I don't know, but I think it would be a good exercise to check to see if you have any unclaimed property. Again, it might be money that you have that you don't know about. Thanks for listening to this very brief episode of the Simply Financial podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, and I will be back with you on the next episode of the Simply Financial podcast very soon. Thanks for listening.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.